I am attempting to squat 500 pounds or in a 5-minute mile with the same day, and this is how I plan to do it. In this video, I'm going to talk through my 12-week training plan, how I plan to progress my strength work alongside my running. If you're a hybrid athlete and you lift and you run and you want to know how to maximize both, this is the video for you. On screen now, you are going to see my attempt at my 6:07 mile that we did last week. About 4 weeks ago, I managed to do a 7-minute mile, and that was before I even ran. We trained for about 3 weeks, doing 1 run a week. Managed to get this down to 6:07. I'm pretty happy with it, and later on, as you see me start to dive throughout the 400 meters, I will explain how I felt and how it's probably going to feel to try to get that down to a 4 to 5-minute mile. Adam Blink and Fergus Crawley were two of the people that have done it before, and they were like 1 and 2, and they were kind of in competition at the same time. It was a bit like the moon race. The thing I love about this challenge is a 500-pound squat you need to be super heavy for. So you need to be around 90 kilos plus to be able to do that. And the 5-minute mile in itself is a hard feat. So being able to do both at the same time just kind of makes it quite exciting for me. So where did it come from? In the CrossFit manual, there is written down that as a CrossFit athlete, you want to be able to be the athlete that can squat 500 pounds and run a 5-minute mile and do 50 pull-ups. And I probably won't be doing 50 kipping pull-ups. If I will do them, they will be strict. But one of the reasons I feel like I do it, or the reason I'm going to attempt to do it anyway, is because I'm pretty close to being able to do the squat. So I squatted 225 in the past. Currently predicted I have a 234 kilo 1 rep max. And hopefully over the next 12 weeks, we can either maintain that strength or start to build on top of it. Ideally, I'd like to be around a 250 kilo like predicted 1 rep max, but in the next 12-week period, I reckon I'll be able to get that to around 240. The reason that is because that would make the 1 rep max attempt, or the 228, so 228 kilo or 227 kilo attempt, not be too difficult for me. It would be like an 8 out of 10 RPE, hopefully. The reason that would be good is because going into the 5-minute mile, I want something in reserve. I want to be able to kind of give it my all as I go into it. The 5-minute mile itself is basically having to run a 400-meter lap in a minute 50. You run 800 meters in 2 minutes 30, and then carrying through. The thing I found when doing the mile test this time was actually the first 400 meters were fine. We went out a little bit too hot, but like kind of fine. One of the things I did find is as I was trying to run at the 90-second pace for the 6-minute attempt that I was going for on that day, I did like a 200-meter sprint at the pace, and I was like, this is fast, I'm already out of breath. So I knew this was going to be quite difficult. 400 meters, first one was fine. 800 meters was fine, and it was about the kilometer mark where I started to die off. Mark was pacing me and Sam was pacing me at the same time, and the gap between me and Mark just started to get bigger and bigger at that kilometer mark. And what I started to feel at that point was just like I had no air in my lungs. So there was pressure on my sternum. It felt like I couldn't breathe properly. And I just know that as we get further and further along, as we kind of get closer towards trying to do this 5-minute mile, it's going to be the same feeling. The legs didn't feel too bad. It was more just not being able to get my air in. One of the ways that I'm going to try to do it, or one of the ways that kind of helped during this, is as we got round towards the last lap, of the 400 meters, or the final 400 meters, at the 200-meter mark from the finish line, I actually started to feel like that was the hardest part for me. And having sand in my ear from that point on telling me to just keep going, is all I basically needed. Kind of to just spur me on. To that point, I can't really see properly. My legs are hurting, my lungs are burning. It's just completely ridiculous. I'm going to talk you through the training plan over the next kind of 12 weeks. What I'm going to plan to do with my strength work, what I'm going to plan to do with my running. I'll leave the footage kind of playing in the background, but I can talk you through the next bit.
Come on. Keep going. Come on.
Come on, mate, let's go.
Let's go, let's go.
Come on, come on, come on. Come on.
Good.
Good lad, good lad.
Currently, when you'll see this video, we are at the end of week 1, and we're going to do 12 each and trying to progress towards this. One of the reasons I feel like I'm going to do it is because I have a running background. I played rugby since I was a kid and reasonably quick. So I feel like the actual running itself, once I get fit enough, will actually be okay. And because I'm pretty close to being able to do the squat, it should be quite comfortable. 12 week, I say comfortable. The squat should be comfortable. The run's going to be horrendous. 12-week block, basically going to be doing 4 strength sessions a week and 3 runs / cardio. I'm going to have 1 to 2 rest days per week. my training is split over the time. So I'm basically going to go like AM and PM. Monday, I'm going to do a lower body session in the morning. On the Tuesday, I'm going to do a zone 2 run. This is for the first 1 to 4 weeks. And then on the Wednesday, I'm going to do a zone 2 bike or run. The reason that is because I was chatting to Mark about this. We were saying about oxidizing this much tissue. So trying to basically get fit enough to do this. Rowing machine and the assault bike are really good because it's both upper body and lower body movement at the same time. So having to oxidize that's going to be really good. So that's going to help me to like challenge my system. The reason I'm doing only 2 runs a week and then 1 like zone 2 kind of machine session is purely because I don't want to go straight into running 3 times a week. If I go into running 3 times a week, that's going to start to fatigue my legs way quicker and it could cause injuries. I already had it in the first 4 weeks before this block of like running once a week, starting to get knee pain, all sorts when I was squatting. So this is going to try to help me to like acclimate to the running volume that I'm going to be getting into. Wednesday afternoon, so Wednesday PM, I'm in the upper body session. Thursdays are always going to be complete rest day. Friday is going to be a lower body session in the morning. Saturday PM is going to be an upper, and then we got our main track sessions on a Sunday. Basically, we're going to focus this first 4 weeks on aerobic fitness. So 2 zone 2 workouts, and then a zone 4/5 session is our main track session. Our low bar squats is going to be 5 reps, and we're going to just progress that through the 4 weeks. And our pause squats in the Monday AM is going to be pull at 7 reps. Weeks 5 to 8, how are we going to progress that on? Our low bar squats are going to drop down 4 reps and our pull squats are going to drop down to 6 reps. And just starting to kind of get the reps down so we can start to increase our intensity, increase the weight and bar. We're now only going to be doing 1 zone 2 session. That is going to be mixed between running, between rowing, between biking, depending upon what I'm feeling like on the day, what I need, how sore I'm feeling. Our Tuesday session this time is going to be hill sprints. This is going to be horrible. And part of this reason is just to get used to like my legs not being able to work properly as we run up and down hills. I really am looking forward to this. The goal is to basically increase our anaerobic threshold over this period of the 5 to 8 weeks. And we're still going to have those main track sessions on the Sunday. Weeks 9 to 12, this is going to be our peaking block. So this is where we're going to start to drop down, you're going to increase our the amount of rest days to 3 rest days in a week. And we're going to start to do double days a lot more. So we'll have our primary squat on Tuesday morning. So this is going to be our main squat that we're aiming for. This is going to be our bigger squat session. I'm going to do a zone 5 track session in the evening. All of our zone 5 work in this one is going to basically be running at a pace that we want to try and hit for that 5-8 mark. So at that 1 minute 15 per 400 meter pace. Our Wednesday session do a zone 2 bike /row/run in the morning. And then we're going to have an upper body session in the afternoon. That choice, so I don't use all of my size and that purely ego. Friday session is going to be a secondary squat. On a Sunday, we're going to do a technique squat, but straight into the track. So Tuesday session, we're going to give it a period of time. So we'll probably do training around midday in the morning, around 11ish if we can on the Tuesday. And then PM is when we're going to do our track session. So there is going to be like 3 or 4 hours between that. On a Sunday, we're going to go straight from doing our technique squat. So this is going to be around 50-60% below 1 rep max and straight for the track. Still going to be our main session that Sunday, which is this kind of different length of intervals. We are going to look to peak our 1 rep max strength over this. The weekly progresses and the way it works out and it basically every block follows the same for our runs. We're going to use somewhere between 8 to 10 400 meter intervals if we want. Week 2, we're going to up it to 800 meter intervals, doing 6 to 8 800 meter intervals. And week 3, we're going to do 2 to 4 mile intervals. And then week 4 is our tested week. Week 4, it would always be where we test our strength work and we test our runs. Our main track sessions, this is how they're going to progress week to week as we go through each 4-week block. Our strength progressions. Now, on screen, you'll be seeing how I'm going to plan percentages for the first block. The way I like to think about percentages and the way I like to think about total volume when we're doing this is you have your minimum effective volume and you have your maximum recoverable volume. Your minimum effective volume is basically the least amount of sets you can do to get the adaptation that you're trying to get. For the maximum recoverable volume, you're looking at things like the set's going to be way more. So that's the most you can do to recover for. The reason that I want to do it this way, reason that I'm basically lowering the number of sets closer to the minimum effective volume is because of the effect that the running's going to have on me. If I was just doing a powerlifting bulk or I was just focused on the strength, I would try and be at the top end of where I'm going to be. So my squatting, for example, you're trying to gain strength for be around 10 sets per week. I'm going to start this first 4 weeks, 8 sets. And the reason is because over the period of time, we're just going to drop down the number of sets that we're doing because the intensity on the running is going to go up. And the effect that's going to have on our legs, we're kind of just like predicting. We don't really know what's going to happen. We won't really know until we get there. But that's the percentages that we're going to like stair step. One of the ways of doing this is doing a top single in week 1 at the percentage that I'm going to be doing my 5 on week 2. So in week 1, I'm doing a single 81%. In week 2, that 81% I'm going to do for 5. And the reason is because as the weights are heavier, one of the things that we want to try and do is practice that 1 repetition. That 1 repetition max, we want to get good at walking the bar out with load on our back, being able to control it as we go through. That's going to just be something that we're practicing. So it's almost like practicing the skill element of that. Weight's not going to be too heavy. And it's just going to allow me then to get ready for the next week's 5 rep or top 5 reps that we're going to do. Now we're going to go on to the interference effect. And the interference effect is something that you may hear talked about quite a lot. I think Dr. Phil Price is someone who's really good on it. Some jokes about basically hybrid training and talks about how the set was about. When we train for both strength and muscle, if we're like trying to build strength or have a muscle building goal alongside endurance goal, it's important to understand the interference effect. We basically want to maintain our strength and we want to maintain our muscle mass while we're trying to get fit. But the processes of building strength and muscle and building fitness, they literally directly oppose each other. So how we maximize our strength gains and how do we maximize our endurance? Think of it this way. When you run and when you do any endurance work, you're going to activate what we call AMPK. AMPK is a pathway which basically signals to our body that we need to kind of be a bit more conservative with energy. So what AMPK does is it basically stops building muscle, or it basically inhibits us from building muscle. The signal for building muscle is muscle protein synthesis. So weight training, strength training, and eating protein, the thing that activates that. AMPK basically increases energy production, so increases burning fat and burning glucose, so burning our fuel sources. It's going to inhibit muscle growth, like we just mentioned, and it's basically going to help us to get better endurance. The AMPK thing lasts for around, well, the AMPK signal lasts for around 5 hours, 3 to 5 hours. So we want to make sure that when we're setting up our training plan, we have about 5 hours between an endurance workout and a strength workout. AMPK gets activated during endurance exercise. This suppresses the mTOR pathway, and that's what the mTOR pathway is what drives muscle protein synthesis. So if we want to maximize muscle protein synthesis, we want to have 5 hours between our endurance workouts and our strength training. Muscle protein synthesis is the process of building muscle. It's going to help us to basically keep our strength. Muscle protein synthesis basically is a process that we use to build muscle tissue. Basically starting to build more proteins, even muscle building. This lasts around 24 to 48 hours, peaking around 18 hours, which means that we want to have 18 hours between our strength work and our endurance work. So it's 3 to 5 hours between doing an endurance session and a strength session, and 18 hours after doing a strength session before we do our next endurance session. This is the maximum when it both. Now, the interference effect, it isn't so much that you cannot get stronger and fitter at the same time. That myth surely has been debunked by now. What it is we only have a certain amount of resources. Hence why I was saying the total volume that I'm going to be lifting at is going to be less. The number of sets I'm going to be lifting at is going to be way less than when I'm normally doing my powerlifting block. And that's because we just have limited amount of resources that need to go to recover. That's the Hoover. The training split that we're going to use. So if you look at the way I do it, is in the morning on a Monday, I'm going to be doing my strength work. I'm going to have 18 hours between that and my cardio session. Do you want to grab that? So grab that. We have a robot Hoover, and the robot Hoover's on a timer, and that's just started. Set. Our training is split. And the way we're going to kind of manage the interference effect, how we're going to maximize both our endurance work and our strength training. Strength training on Monday morning. So Monday at AM, we're going to strength train, and then we're not going to do our cardio until Tuesday. Okay, so that's going to give me a good 24 plus hours to maximize that muscle protein synthesis spike. Tuesday evening, we do our cardio session. Wednesday morning, we're going to do a cardio session. And then Wednesday afternoon/evening, we'll do a strength training session. The reason is because we then will have 5 hours between our morning cardio, even a strength session. Thursday, we're going to rest. Friday's morning is going to be a strength session. Saturday afternoon is going to be a strength session. Then our Sunday morning is when we're going to be doing our cardio. So Saturday afternoon is going to be our midday. So that should still give us a good 18 hours between that session and our morning cardio. You want to try to have enough space between this. I would try to avoid going straight from cardio into strength training because that's going to, again, limit the signals. And I would avoid going straight from strength training into cardio training if you had. That would be the way I would get most people to set it up. So I had 12 weeks to get 1 minute and 7 seconds off of my current mile PB. Will I do it? I don't really know. Kind of scared, kind of nervous about this, but you have to have some level of arrogance, as Fergus Bory said, and some level of delusion to be able to attempt a challenge like this. And luckily, I'll both. This is going to be one of the hardest things I've done. I cannot wait to get into it. Do you think I could do it? If you have any advice, if you know any other people apart from Adam and Fergus who have done this, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. My name's Charlie. This is Have Audio Mind. We will see you on the next.